2014 playoff. Wait, hold up. Imagine? Well, for Josh Heupel and several other SEC coaches, a couple of them, they feel like a 2014 playoff is where the sport is headed in college football. Now, as y'all know, it's been an all-season. I haven't been able to do too much news because it's not a lot going on. But the spring's right around the corner, so this stuff is going to heat up, and I cannot wait to cover it all. And Tennessee will be one of the teams I will cover throughout the season. In addition to, obviously, my Miami Hurricanes, Georgia Tech, Georgia, Texas, and a little bit of Michigan and Ohio State. But this is what he had to say. The way college football is constantly changing, that probably makes the most sense. Now, right now we're in a 12-team playoff, which is not bad. I feel like 16 is the sweet number, right? 24 may be a little bit too much. 16 is good because I feel like everybody gets a full play. You're getting the best of the best. You can have a couple losses and still get into the playoff. And as I always say, at least give one berth, right, to a group of 5, group of 6 team, however you want to say it, right? And again, you can make it entertaining where they have to do a play-in spot for them, but at least allow that conference to get something in, whether that's from the Sun Belt, whether that's from obviously the the Mountain West, the Big Sky, the American Conference, a lot of them opportunity. Now, the 2014 playoff definitely should allow that. Why 16 is a sweet number for me? I feel like 16, you're getting a little bit of everything, right? You can get a Vanderbilt in last year. You get a Texas in from last year. A few years ago, you get a South Carolina in, and it feels like that would be very entertaining because as we see, the lower seeds more often than not wins. The bye week, yes, is great, but we're seeing teams like the Miamis of the world, like Ohio State, who shouldn't have been number 8. I know what y'all gonna say, but they're able to get into these playoffs and they're able to make these runs. Miami being a prime example as obviously the last team to get in. So for me, I feel like a 2014 playoff is a little too much. 16 is really your sweet spot. You have a couple bye weeks for the top 4 seeds, but yeah, then you let if you have 16 teams, the top 4 get buys. Let 5 play 16. You know what I'm saying? Let 6 play 15, 7 play 14, and so on and so forth. Y'all know how the rest of that would go. Then from that point, you know what I'm saying, then you bring in, obviously, the top seeds, and you let them play the winners of those. However you want to break it down, number 1's going to play the lowest seed, number 2 plays, the high seed, however you want to break that down. That's why I feel like that would be, obviously, the best. 24 teams is a lot. But, again, why it makes sense for Coach Josh Heupel to say that from Tennessee? It allows more teams to get in one. It helps, obviously, with the revenue purposes for the volunteers, and not only the volunteers, but the whole entire college football landscape in space. More advertisers, more sponsors, and obviously better for TV rating. Now, again, you don't want a product where it dilutes. You don't want, obviously, it to be, okay, SEC team or whatever it is, they're blowing teams out. Okay, the ratings are creme de la creme, right? You want the best of the best. That's why I feel like 24 is a little bit too. Very interesting to say the least and see what's going to happen here. Obviously, a lot of fans are not going to be in favor of a 2014 playoff. It is a little bit too much for me. I am in agreement. But I do think 16 is your true sweet spot here. Allows pretty much a lot of good teams, top teams to get in. But all in all, I get it, man. It makes a lot of sense to see what's going to happen here. 24 teams for some people, obviously, is something that stands out, right? Something that allows, like I said, the sponsors, everybody, the ratings, to obviously help the sport. And like I said, some are going to be in favor, some are not. We'll see, obviously, what happens. But there is a top 25 for a reason. And at that point, you're practically there with a 2014 playoff. Again, not for it. I like 16, teams. But I can't see why they would want to go 24.